Ladies and gentlemen, my name's Paul. Hopefully you're having an amazing day. While 2021 has been somewhat of a letdown in tech, not helped because of numerous hardware shortages of course, 2022 is shaping up to be much better. Not only are those pesky shortages looking to be alleviated, but we're also going to see the launch of very important products such as RDNA 3, Zen 4, Intel Xe, and finally Nvidia's Lovelace. But I want to kick this video off discussing Navi 33 and a slew of performance and specification rumours that have popped up. But first, just a quick word from this video's sponsor. If you're running a copy of Windows 10 which isn't activated, of course, not only do you have to worry about the missing customization options, but there's also that annoying Windows desktop watermark reminding you to activate. Today's video is sponsored by WhoKeys.com, and they have an excellent price on Windows 10 Professional as well as home keys. Yeah, and they also of course sell games. I've bought a few Windows 10 keys with my own personal account to test everything was legit and worked in preparation for this sponsored video. You can pick up one of their keys for 25% off using the coupon code RGT in the checkout. There's links to their website in the video description. Also, if you're building a few systems, there's bundles available too. Again, you can check out WhoKeys.com and use the coupon code RGT for 25% off the listed Windows 10 key prices. So Navi 33 then is a little different from Navi 31 and 32 because it is a monolithic die. We've discussed this 100 times before, so I'll just go over it very briefly here. It is produced on the 6nm process from TSMC, and this is opposite to Navi 31 and 32, which both use the 5 and 6nm process. The 5nm process used for the GCD, aka the compute units, the stuff that actually, well, does stuff, and then the MCD, which is the cache of it, basically the infinity cache, that is produced on TSMC's 6nm process, allegedly. And yeah, so Navi 33 is a monolithic die. And we've been hearing numerous performance targets for quite some time, as well as specifications. For a long time, we were hearing it's got 5120 shaders, and its performance targets were about 50% faster than the 69, nice, 100 XT. But just recently, I put out my own video, and I was saying that I actually have been hearing that those performance targets might be a bit ambitious. I was hearing that it is faster than the 6900 XT, but yeah, not hugely faster, maybe 10 to 20-ish%. And interestingly, there are a slew of rumours now from Grayman that seems to back this up. And again, there seems to be a revision in the number of shaders. So looking at the number of shaders then, their bio is now saying that it's 4096 for N33, Navi 33, compared to 5120. Now there are two theories here. The first is that 5120 was just plain incorrect, or you could say that 4096 is incorrect, or the other way to look at it is that AMD did consider 5120 and that was the rumour for some time, but they've actually decided to shave it down. After all, it's very possible that this can occur, and perhaps one of the reasons they decided to do this was just because a GPU which would be that much faster than 6900 XT, you can argue that a lot of folks just wouldn't need anything faster, or maybe they thought it was for other reasons, like for example yield purposes. Now personally, I'm leaning towards the fact that 4096 could be more accurate, but that would be a pretty big amount of performance given how relatively fast it would be, given the specifications of Navi 21, specifically the 6900 XT. And the performance targets that we've been hearing again was 50%. Now, of course, when it comes to any performance targets, especially ray tracing, it's quite difficult to get exact numbers, especially when drivers and stuff are not mature. But I asked roughly what the performance targets were, and I was basically told that it is going to essentially be kind of close to Lovelace. One person told me it's basically Ampere +1, and another one told me that it's not quite as good as Nvidia's Lovelace, but with optimization and that type of thing, it's possible that in some software, you could argue that it could possibly be faster. And obviously different game engines scale differently and different optimization and all of that stuff. So it'll be very interesting to see how all of this works out. That does kind of make me wonder whether the 50% target was actually the ray tracing performance. and we basically just got that mixed up all of this time, which would be kind of funny and perhaps make some level of sense, but I'm not so sure about that. Either way, I do believe that next year is going to be really exciting in tech. Obviously, Intel will be releasing Alder Lake, it looks like, in November, but then directly after that next year, we're going to be seeing a whole deluge of products from Intel and AMD, with Raptor Lake launching apparently in Q3 / very early Q4, which is going to be 10 to 15% faster IPC wise, and also have some numerous architecture changes. I'm hearing it's 8+6 for Raptor Lake, so it's going to be a very interesting architecture. And with all we've heard about Zen 4 and just the sheer craziness there, it could be a very good thing for people to perhaps not just jump onto anything right now, at least in GPUs, and just kind of wait and to see what happens, particularly given the shortages. Also, while we're on the subject of AMD, I did want to touch on just a quick thing regarding energy efficiency. Now, this does mostly pertain to HPC and AI. However, I do think it's a very interesting press statement that AMD have released. I'll of course link the full thing in the video description. So obviously one of the big things that everyone at the moment is trying to do is reduce power consumption and just make things more energy efficient for a plethora of reasons. Now in the data center, this is important not just because things like energy bills and the planet, but there are other numerous benefits as well, like just being able to pack a large amount of compute performance into a space and then not feel like you're basically walking into a sauna. Now, of course, the reality is that data centers are just hot and it takes an awful lot of effort to keep them cool. But yeah, AMD have basically put out a press statement and they have a very lofty goal indeed. So AMD's goal, according to themselves, is from 20 to 2025, our high-performance AMD EPYC CPUs and Radeon Instinct GPUs aim to achieve a 30 times increase in energy efficiency for AI training and HPC. And you can see that this is indeed way above the industry rate. So this is quite substantial. Again, 30 times increase in energy efficiency for AMD processors and accelerators powering servers for artificial intelligence, training, and high-performance computing. The 30 times goal would save billions of kilowatt hours of electricity in 2025, reducing the power required for those systems to complete a single calculation by 97% over 5 years. And yeah, I mean, I know that, again, this is not necessarily something that is perhaps as immediately exciting as, say, the number of cores in a processor or the frames per second of RDNA 3. However, I do think it's still a very interesting thing. And it does also make you think of some of the ways that AMD could possibly do this as we start to move forward. At the end of the day, obviously, there are certain obvious things, like, for example, improvements in node process, but, of course, it is going to take a lot more than just shrinking things down from 7nm to 5nm and so on to be able to achieve these targets. And AMD have a very robust profile. AMD are not the only ones, of course, that are tackling energy efficiency, and it's quite a big thing. So it's not perhaps so well known, but this could also have some interesting ramifications going forward for customer devices, because the PlayStation 5, the Xbox, they all actually have to hit certain power requirements. So for example, you might have the European Union or the United States or whomever, and they will actually ask for devices to fall within certain power envelopes depending on what that device is doing. So for example, obviously if a device is playing a game, it's allowed to use more power than if it's on standby or if it's, say, watching a movie. But these are power requirements which are actually pretty stringent. So you can't just like build an Xbox Series X, for example, and then say, well, it's okay to use like 500 watts of powers. Instead, you have to build the device around these stringent requirements. And you have to remember that there's an awful lot of stuff which is inside of these consoles. So it's going to be very interesting to me how AMD's strategy going forward is also going to have ramifications which are going to go through the industry, particularly given Sony, Microsoft, and so many others actually partner with AMD. It's a very interesting time in the industry. And quite frankly, I think that we're going to be seeing some very cool stuff over the next few years, especially starting to trickle into other devices like laptops. But I think that's just about it for this particular video. Hopefully you have enjoyed it. The normal stuff, if you did, like, share, comment, and of course subscribe. And I'll see you soon. Take care of yourselves. Bye for now.